You're listening to Shoe In, covering the ins and outs of all things footwear, from sneakers to heels, loafers to slippers, and every type of shoe in between. Brought to you by the FDRA, the Footwear Industries Association focused on retail, trade, politics, and fashion, helping create and enhance conversations on all things footwear.
Andy Mines, how are you doing this morning?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fine. One of the things I love about this podcast is that it is global and then our industry is global. So it makes sense that the Shoe Industries podcast is global because we are working with companies all over the world, with trade shows all over the world. And that's one of the reasons I love being in this industry, because it is global. You know what? Our guest today is Alice Vago, who is the General Secretary of PISIE and works with Simac Tanning Tech, which is a trade fair that we partner with. And we've met her over the last year or so and have gotten to know Alice. And Alice, we want to welcome you to Shoe In Show. Thank you so much for taking the time all the way from Italy to join us. How are you doing today?
Oh, thank you very much, Matt and Sandy. I am very good indeed, and thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, my pleasure. So first, out of the gate, tell us about your role within the footwear industry, particularly as you serve both at PISIE and the Simac Tanning Tech Trade Fair.
Yeah, so just a couple of words about PISIE. I am actually the General Secretary. PISIE is an NGO, a no-profit organization, and we work in international cooperation with developing countries. We work in the sectors of footwear technology, textiles, and leather in general. What we do is we have a wide network of experts which have a long and wide experience in terms of textile, leather, and footwear production, but also design and waste handling and management as well. And what we do is we support these developing countries in terms of their necessity in these sectors in particular, especially in industrial clusters. So the thing is that PISIE was actually born from ASSOMAC and ACIMIT, which are two national associations in Italy. ASSOMAC is actually the national association which collects all the manufacturers of technology for tanning, leather, and footwear. And that's why we are here today, because actually PISIE helps out ASSOMAC into organizing the international fair called Simac Tanning Tech, which is a yearly fair. And PISIE helps with the organization and coordination of different events that happen during the fair, which are called ASSOMAC Talks. And I'm proud to say that's where I interviewed you, Matt. So your video is also present on our platform as well. ASSOMAC Talks are a cycle of videos, brief videos presenting research activity from technology centers around the world, but also, let's say, a moment where all the main actors of the sector can gather and discuss about hot topics. But also PISIE takes care of collecting and arranging and then disseminating all the information about the main technology presented during the fair. So yeah, we're a bit of a point of collection for all the exhibitors who want to speak out to the world.
That's great. Alice, tell us a little bit about your shoe story and the personal side of this. How did you get to know the fair? How did you get into this role? What's your shoe story? How did you start in technology and footwear? Tell us a little bit about that.
So actually I come from a background in textiles, so there's a little bit to do with footwear. But that what led me to the role in PISIE, and that's where I started learning about footwear. Clearly my passion grew because PISIE takes care of, as I was mentioning, training and providing information to developing countries. So usually what we do is we have online or physical courses, school about textile, about design, about production, about modeling, pattern making, and everything that comes with it. So clearly my passion grew and my knowledge grew on the job. So that was a very interesting course for me, a very interesting path. And that's where I started working with footwear in general. So clearly, PISIE could become, as I was saying, a main focal point for helping Simac Tanning Tech collecting and disseminating certain kind of information. So, yeah, that's a little bit of my background.
I love it. Sandy more than myself, but once you kind of get into this industry, there's no leaving. I mean, you just can't. It's kind of like the mafia. You just can't leave. You're always in the family, right? So
exactly.
Let's talk about the Simac Tanning Tech Fair. It took place a couple months ago. What were some of the highlights of the show? And can you talk in a general sense about some of the key exhibitions and technologies that were on display there?
Yeah, so Simac Tanning Tech, as you mentioned, is a focal point for all the technologies in terms of footwear tanning and leather goods in general. And every year, the best technologies in the sector internationally get presented there. This year in particular, we had about 300 total expositors, and they have presented various, so many innovative ideas and technologies, as well as their classic technology that always works and is always appreciated. This year, what we have tried to do is we have tried to put our focus into collecting and elaborating news. So we have asked the exhibitors to provide us with new technologies they believed it was important to share. We have received about 50 new technology that have been developed, and we have collected them in a collection that we have named Tech News, simply, and which is available on our website, Simac Tanning Tech website. We have tried to gather the technologies in the 4 different topics they are trying to act on. So we have technology that has been developed for sustainability in particular, and first of all, in terms of energy saving technology, in terms of utilization of bio-based material, but also technology on how to recycle and upcycle material as well and products. We also have focused very much on a focus on health and safety. So we have a lot of technology developed to improve the work environment and ergonomics as well. We have a lot of technology which have been developed in order to improve both the process, but also the products. So we have a lot of technology that talks about accuracy, that betters the resource use, but also very important point, data collection and use, but also efficiency. So improvement in efficiency, but also quality and measurement of quality itself. Also, I just wanted to add that when we talk about innovation and technology, we can see Simac Tanning Tech as a perfect chance to create and arise a discussion on how to improve existing technology. So the classic technology we use accordingly to customers' needs. So it's a very important occasion for customers to go to their supplier and ask for what they need and hopefully get a positive answer back. But usually it is so.
Alice, tell us about a little bit about the details of the show, the location, the dates, any specific logistics that people need to know about.
Yes, so Simac Tanning Tech happens yearly in the month, at the end of the month of September. There's usually a week which we call the Fashion Week in Italy, where all the main players in terms of exhibitions, so the main fairs dedicated to fashion happen. So during the end of the month of September, and the fair is in Fiera Milano. So it's very close to Milan city center, very easy to reach with public transport. So yeah, and accessing the fair, you will have the chance to visit, as I was saying, many other important fairs from the fashion industry in Italy.
How does the fair keep up with the trends, right? What are some of the ways in which the fair has adapted and adjusted to focus and make sure the industry is focused on the use of technology and how that's expanded, for example? How do you keep up, I guess, is the question.
Yeah, so clearly there is a big expansion. There is way more and more technology used and requested and produced. So what we've tried to do as a fair is we have tried to make a change and become way more elastic and way more available for the audience. Clearly, a big push came from COVID and pandemic situations. We had a lot of restrictions in terms of traveling, meeting face to face. So we have tried to find a way to communicate better and to become more available, easier and easier from wherever you are in the world and whenever. So what we have tried to do is we have tried to create a platform, an online platform that would collect the huge amount of technical information and news and opinions that come from all over the world of the sector, of the technology sector for footwear and tanning and leather, but also all the developments, continuous developments in technology. So all of these information has been collected and has been organized on our Simac Tanning Tech platform. And we hope, and we think we did, create a comprehensive and accessible portal. And yeah, it's always updating. We are always trying to find easier way to communicate. That's also why we have developed this tech news report, collecting the main technologies presented during Simac Tanning Tech this year, so the last September 2022.
Alice, that's interesting that you talk a little bit about efficiencies and new technologies and sustainability. Can you tell us a little bit more or guide some of the new brands and the new companies that are coming to the fair and entering this market, what they should be focused on over the next few years? I was about to say 5 years, but let's just look at the next 2 to 3 years. What's to come? What should they be focused on? What kind of guidance can you suggest?
Yeah, so clearly end customers, they are way more aware about the use of materials, the country of origin of a product they purchase, the durability, the quality, as well as the price. So clearly, as providers of technology, what we try to do is we try to develop systems that can provide a better transparency. And we think that manufacturers should be focused on purchasing technology that can give them, more transparency. So the way to become more transparent is for sure digitalization. So technologies are going towards this digitalization process. And we think that the benefits are, first of all, in terms of data collection and accuracy of the data we collect. So we have already some data collection systems which are in place and which are available. But also we are trying to move forward the huge world of AI. So we know that there are many complex operations which will be replaced by machines in order to be more accurate. And clearly they are machines that will be able to improve their operation thanks to data that is collected. So yeah, a lot of attention on how the data is collected and the precision with which this data is collected, but also the digitalization and so more technology which is digitalized in order to reduce the time between design, prototyping, and production, and prices as well, with a reduction of prices as well, but also technology for quality control. So as I was mentioning, the end customer are starting looking at quality as well. So we need to make sure to have technology that can guarantee this quality.
Yeah, I mean, I think quality in customer focus is always, no matter where you are in the supply chain, whether you're at the production, manufacturing, development side, all the way down to the retail, focused on the consumer is key. That's what we all need to be focused on. And so to me, it's kind of this landscape of endless possibilities, particularly when you bring in AI and utilizing AI in interesting ways, things we can't even imagine and dream up of right now. But I do want to pivot over to something a little bit more fun, because you are in Italy. There's so many great Italian brands. You can tell us more about where you technically are, but you're in the birthplace of the high heel. So there's countless people around the globe are who would love to just travel there as a mecca because of the high heel. Maybe some people wouldn't because they hate them. But nevertheless, we want to ask you, Alice, what is in your closet? What are some of your favorite Italian brands? Can you choose just one or two amongst your many amazing children, which is probably hard to do? But talk to us more about kind of what brands you like and what's in your closet.
So, Matt, I have to be honest with you. I'm not really a fashionable person. I love technology.
Oh, that's nonsense. That's nonsense.
But what happened to me is actually starting working for the industry. I started realizing that what I was buying was, low quality. I started to understand a little bit more what I was looking for in terms of durability and quality, but also. The life cycle that the product I'm buying is, So I had the chance through Simac talks, through the interview we are conducting during Simac Tanning Tech, to meet Mr. Edoardo Iannuzzi, which is the Chief Sustainability Manager for ACBC, which is an Italian brand. Anything can be changed. And actually, their vision really struck me. As well as their designs, which resulted in a successful Monday night at online shopping. So for sure, ACBC, it's a brand that you will find in my closet.
I love it. And there's no shame. So when I came into this industry, and I can't speak for Sandy because she was born into the industry, but when I came into it, I only had a handful of shoes. I was a sneaker guy, of course. I'm an American male. I'm into sneakers. I grew up that way. But my dress shoe fashion game was non-existent. And I'm proud to say that I own a number of pairs of Ferragamos now. I have a lot more. I mean, it's required of you in this position that I have. I have a lot more fashionable shoes. So when you started to kind of tell how you came into the industry, it felt very familiar to me. And so there's no shame in that. There's no shame in kind of catching up a little bit later in life because and now I have more shoes than my wife. And so that's where we're at. So, and I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. And I think as a person belonging to the young generation of the sector, I think it's astonishing how it can get to you if well communicated. So that's what we're trying to do as well, to become way more clear and to communicate to different people from different ages and try to have even younger generation pay attention to way more details, which are usually something, they don't tend to do, but we do our best.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, last question. What's a good way for listeners to get a hold or connect with you or Simac Tanning Tech? Is there a website? What should we share with our listeners?
Yeah, so the easier way will be to visit the Simac Tanning Tech website, which is easily foundable on every platform. There's also an available app, both for iOS and Android as well, Simac Tanning Tech. So yes, please get in touch. We'll be happy to answer any questions, but also all the information is there and we have made it very well accessible. So you're most welcome to come and visit.
We'll link it in the description for this episode, and we encourage all folks to check it out and keep an eye on all the different new technologies that are emerging and partner with Simac Tanning Tech and make plans to travel there for the fair next year. And so, Alice, thank you for spending some time with us today. We're super grateful for your partnership and for the fact that you are in our industry and you're helping companies navigate all the different challenges and the broad landscape that is technology within our sector. We really appreciate you coming on today.
Well, thank you, Matt, and thank you, Sandy, for having me. It was a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So, folks, that's been another exciting edition of Shoe and Show. Thank you for listening. We're super grateful. We ask that you spread the word. Send people to shoeandshow.com, or you can subscribe anywhere that you access your podcast on any platform. You can also rate us. Interestingly enough, the system only allows for 5-star ratings. Anything below that gets kicked out automatically. So go and rate us 5 stars, spread the word, and make sure you join us again next week for another exciting edition of Shoe and Show. And until next time, Shoe and Show is out.
Shoe In has been brought to you by the FDRA, the Footwear Industries Association focused on retail, trade, politics, and fashion, helping create and enhance conversations on all things footwear. For information about FDRA, visit fdra.org.